Hello there. In this session, we will understand the concepts that are required to tackle questions on clocks. Now, exams could test you on this topic of clocks in various different ways. To give you a couple of very simple examples, you could be given a particular time of the day and asked to find the angle between the hands of the clock at that time of the day. Say for example, you're given that the time is 3:40, AM PM does not matter. You are asked to find out the angle between the hands of the watch at 3:40. So how do we solve a question of that sort? That's one variant that you can think of. Another variant would be a simple converse of something like this. The first variant was given the time, can you find the angle? The second variant is given the angle, can you find the time? But remember, given the angle, can you find the time is not a very realistic scenario because there are multiple possibilities for the angle between the hands of a watch to have a particular angle at various different times. So what exams do is they give you a particular time frame. They say, let's say between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, what is the time or what are the times when the angle between the hands of the watch is, let's say, 120 degrees. So that could be one possibility. So there could be these kinds of questions that would be tested on clocks as such. So to be able to solve these questions, we need to first have a thorough understanding on some very basics on clocks. Now, what you see on your screen are some really elementary concepts. The first one talks about the fact that we are only talking about analog clocks to start with, or analog watches and not digital watches. That's number one. And remember that the dial of an analog watch is always circular. That should rule out any sort of doubts that you may have. What if my watch is rectangular in shape? But remember that the dial is still circular and the hands rotate in a circular motion. So that's point number one. Point number two, any analog clock is divided into what are known as 60 equal minute spaces or 12 equal hour spaces. So this is another simple concept that you have to remember. And another third point and very important point is a reference vertical. The reference vertical, when you are looking at finding the angle, is always your 12 o'clock vertical. So the center point from where your dials, from where the hands of the watch actually rotate to 12 o'clock, that reference vertical is 12 o'clock. That is your frame of reference for any sort of angle that you are trying to calculate. Now moving on, if you are looking at hour hand and the angle that the hour hand makes. Now remember that the hour hand takes exactly 12 hours to complete one full circle of 360 degrees. So the hour hand takes 12 hours to complete 360 degrees, which means every 1 hour the hour hand is actually making an angle of 30 degrees. Now when we say the hour hand is making an angle of 30 degrees, let's say from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, this is your 12 o'clock point and this is your 1 o'clock point. From this vertical reference to this 1 o'clock reference, the angle here should be 30 degrees. So from this point to 2 o'clock, it moves another 30 degrees. So say for example at 3 o'clock, your vertical reference is exactly at 12 while your hour hand is at 3 o'clock. So the angle at 3 o'clock of the hour hand is exactly 90 degrees. Likewise at 7 o'clock, it is 210 degrees because it is making 30 degrees every hour. So in 7 hours it's made 210 degrees. Let's see how this works for minute hand. If you look at the minute hand completes one cycle or one rotation of 360 degrees every 1 hour, which means in 60 minutes it has completed 360 degrees. So every minute it is actually covering 6 degrees. So if you are looking at what is the angle made by the minute hand after certain minutes, let's say for example you are talking about 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, what is the angle that the minute hand has moved by? So remember, your reference point is still your 12 o'clock vertical. So from here to 20 minutes, every 6 minutes, every minute it is making 6 degrees. So in 20 minutes it has moved by 120 degrees. So that's how you arrive at the minute hand and the angle it makes. Now, how do you actually relate the hour hand and the minute hand? Now, with the angle. Now remember that, say for example, you are talking about a simple time frame of 3:40. Now at 3:40, remember that the hour hand is not exactly at 3 o'clock. The hour hand is not on the number 3. It is moved closer towards 4 o'clock. It is between 3 and 4 o'clock, but moved closer towards 4 o'clock because the minutes is 40 minutes. It has passed half hour, which is 30 minutes. But the minute hand is exactly at the number 8, which indicates 40 minutes. So remember, if you have to relate by how much angle the hour hand has moved with respect to the movement in the minute hand, that becomes a very crucial point for us to actually calculate the angle between the hands of the watch. So how do we arrive at that? So now remember that a little while back we discussed that the hour hand in 12 hours makes 360 degrees, or every hour it is making 30 degrees. So every 60 minutes the hour hand makes 30 degrees. So which means that every minute it is making 0.5 degrees. So if your reference minutes is n minutes, let's say, so n minutes the hour hand has moved by 0.5 n. So this is a very, very crucial point, because this value is something that you might have to add or subtract to your reference angle when you calculate the angle between the hands of the watch. So this is how you relate minute hand, hours hand and the angle, all three in one go. Some more crucial points on understanding clocks. Now the first point says, if you are actually looking at identifying after how much time would the hour hand and the minutes hand of a clock meet, they would meet every 65 511 minutes starting from 12 hours or 12 o'clock. Now how do you actually arrive at this value? It's very, very simple. Now think of it this way, the hour hand in 1 hour has actually covered 5 minute spaces, while during the same time the minute hand has completed 60 minute spaces, which means that the minute hand in 1 hour's time is ahead of the hour's hand by 55 minute spaces. So if unless of course the minute hand is ahead of the hour hand by 60 minute spaces, they would never meet. So how many minutes would it take for the minute hand to be ahead of the hour hand by 60 minute spaces? So all you have to do is a simple cross multiplication there, and you will arrive at this value as 65 5 by 11. So which means that between every 1 hour span, you will understand that the hour hand and the minute hand will overlap or meet each other exactly once. So which means that overall in 12 hours time, you have 11 such intervals during which the hour hand and the minute hand overlap or meet. So in one day of 24 hours, they meet exactly 22 times overall in 24 hours. Now if you are looking at the number of times the hour hand or minute hand are exactly opposite to each other, or if the angle between them is exactly 180 degrees, then that again happens very similar to the number of times they actually coincide or meet. So in every 12 hours you will observe that the angle between them will be 180 degrees 11 times, and in a 24 hour span it will be 22 times. Now this is as far as the angle between them is 0 degrees or 180 degrees is concerned. Now if you are looking at any other angle, now usually you will come across questions that talk about angle between them being 90 degrees and things like that. But remember that during any other angle other than 0 or 180, the number of times the hour hand and the minute hand will be 22 times in 12 hour span and 44 times in 24 hour span. So this is the number of times that you can think of in terms of the angle between the hour hand and the minute hand being anything other than 0 or 180. Now there is another important point that we have to know here about time gain and time loss. Now time gain in very, very simple terms simply means that the clock is moving fast, and time loss simply means that the clock is moving slow. Say for example, you think of something like a clock gains 5 minutes every 5 seconds, let's say every 3 minutes. If a clock is gaining 5 seconds every 3 minutes, it means that it is moving fast by 5 seconds every 3 minutes. That means that let's say you multiply both the values by 12, 5 12s are 60 seconds. So you get 1 minute. So the clock gains 1 minute every 36 minutes, which means every 36 minutes the clock is showing to be ahead by 1 minute. So this is how you understand time gain and time loss, because you could also be looking at questions that talk about clocks itself, where they say that you have a clock that shows a correct time and you also have a faulty clock that is showing a time gain or a time loss. In solving those kinds of questions will require that you understand this simple concept. Let's move on to solving some questions.